On guys, welcome back to the channel. Big thank you for coming back and choosing another one of my videos right here on YouTube. Today we are back with another episode of the Arsenal Save. If you're with us for the last episode, you'd have seen that we had moved our way through to January, gave you a breakdown of everything that was going on in the Premier League, showed you how we were 5 points behind Manchester United at that point in time. And in today's episode, we were going forwards to the end of the winter transfer window. It's now the 1st of February 2026, and we're going to show you the players that have left the club, come into the club. We're also going to show you what's also happened since you were last here, and we're going to have a little look at the finances to show you what we have left over towards the end of the game. And finally, a look at the squad and a run through of our best 11 and show you exactly where our new signings might fit in. So let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into the brand new signings and show you who we have moved for in the transfer market. Okay, so the only player that has joined the club in the winter transfer window is Julian Brandt. Who is Julian Brandt, you might ask? He's a 29-year-old German international, stands at 6'1", and he can play in a number of positions in the midfield. Now, this is what makes him attractive. If you saw at the end of the last episode, I was describing that we probably needed a body in the middle of the park who can cover for Bellingham and Odegaard. But with Julian Brandt, you also get cover for the wide left position and for Saka's role that he plays on the right-hand side too. So if we needed him to fill in a gap whilst we have an injury or a suspension, he's going to be able to play in a number of positions. And that's what really made him attractive as a transfer target. Looking at his career stats, you can see he has played for a few German teams, Wolfsburg, Leverkusen, and then Dortmund, before moving on to us for £48.5 million. Dortmund were quite eager to get him out of the door. I hope it's not another one of those deals like Matthias Cunha where you think, is this too good to be true? Because there doesn't seem to be any negatives. He comes to us at the age of 29. It says he's a fringe player in his prime years. He has come as a squad player, so no expectation to really have a first team slot, especially with Bellingham, Goretzka and Odegaard as the main three. So it's pretty much a win-win deal for everybody. Looking at his stats, you can see as a central midfielder, he's got good technique, passing and first touch, for flair. He's got good vision. In terms of the physicals, they could be better. It's not the best you're going to see, but acceleration is good, pace of 15, natural fitness of 15, and agility of 15 all mean that he is a player who I think could just plug into a gap, and he's really going to help to enhance the squad, which is something that I wanted rather than try and overhaul it in the last season. We're just going to go and try and add one player or two players on and really make that difference to the team, because like I said, the end goal is Champions League and Premier League, and we're going to need players when we need rotation options who are as good as the ones that are coming out of the first team. So that is the only player to join the club, and in fairness, transfer business in that transfer window was not at a premium. We did have a look at a few other players, but as I said, he can play in a number of positions, so it's like having two players in one, really. And in terms of players who left the club, only Raul Walters left for £375,000 to go to Blackburn. So relatively quiet last transfer window for the Save, but we did have a big target in Julian Brandt, and we brought him in to play in those positions, as we were saying. So that's all the transfer business done. Let's go and show you the finances to show you what is left in the bank, and then we are going to move forwards and show you how we have been getting on since the last episode, and then look at the squad. Okay then, let's have a look at the finances as we move into the last part of the final season of the Save. Now, in yesterday's episode, there was £68 million, I think, available to spend for us, with only £44 million in the bank. Wow, because we have been spent the £48 million, it leaves the club £47 million in the red. Now, it does look a bit scary. It looks like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? But obviously, Arsenal will bank on the fact that they are going to finish high in the Premier League and get far in the Champions League. And once all that television money comes back in, it will balance the books out. But I have to admit, it's not how I wanted to leave the club at this point of the Save. But if we go out in a blaze of glory and we win everything that we want to, kind of is worth the trade-off. Looking at the wage budget, we have £200,000 available to us roughly to spend there. So again, not crippling the club in terms of wages. In the club vision tab, you can see we still have a B from the board and we still have a C plus from the supporters. Nothing really changing in those tabs. Yeah, it just seems like they are very set in their ways. The supporters seem to know what they want, although obviously finishing above Manchester United in the league now is different to what it was in the last episode. We still can't make the most of set pieces, but that's the finances and the club vision. The next thing to show you is why that finish above Man United in the league has changed. What's happened since you've been away? Let's jump in and show you the schedule. So when we left off at the end of the last episode, we had a bit of a torrid time in the month of December, coming out of it with 4 points from the last 2 games. But since then, we have had nothing but plain sailing. To start off January, we had a 2-0 victory against West Ham. Goals from Gabriel Jesus getting 3 points. We beat Watford 3-1 in the Premier League with goals from Dybala, Sobolay and Immobile. Played QPR in the FA Cup third round, managed to rotate the team quite a bit and got through 3-1 with goals from Odegaard, White and Moukoko. We had a 2-2 draw against Manchester City in the Premier League. Let's show you some of those goals because this game was pretty crazy. We were actually the better team and had the bigger XG, but again, we couldn't get the 3 points from the games that matter, especially when they're top of the table clashes. So looking at this one then, City play the ball forwards. Haaland is in behind. He's obviously going to score from there, isn't he? He had 31 goals in 18 games in the last episode, and he obviously has just continued to score and score and score. De Bruyne, who is injured, can still do things like that. Bends the ball past Ramsdale in goal, but luckily for us we do start to fight back. Immobile pinching the ball there in the middle of the park, gives it to Saka, who plays it through to Almada, and he puts the ball into the back of the net to make it 2-1. And then in the second half, 78 minutes on the clock, Joe Cancelo playing it to Ruben Diaz, getting caught in possession. Almeida's in, and he puts it past the goalkeeper to give us a 2-2 draw. So good value for the point in the end. As I said, we were the better team. They scored twice early on and then we had to come back and get the point. Moving on, Fulham, we beat 2-1 in the Premier League with goals from Endrick and Ciro Immobile. Beat Fiorentina 4-1 in the Champions League with goals from Odegaard, Gabriel Jesus and Jude Bellingham. Kieran Tierney getting himself sent off in that one. West Brom we beat 2-1 in the Premier League, goals from Immobile, Dara O'Shea scoring for West Brom. And then we beat Rangers 5-0 in a clash of Britain. Goals from Odegaard, Saka, Almada and Gabriel Jesus. We then beat West Ham 3-0 in the Premier League before coming back for this episode. Goals from Bellingham, Saka and Odegaard. So where does that leave us in terms of the Premier League? Well, yesterday we were sat in 4th. Today we are sat in joint first. We're going to call it joint first. Both us and Manchester United have 51 points. They have a better goal difference. Plus we have played a game more. So obviously once they play that game, depending on who it is, we'll either be joint top or we'll go back to second place. But it looks a lot better than what it did yesterday. If you have a little look, you can see Erling Haaland is on 33 goals now, but Ciro Immobile is right there with Romelu Lukaku. He's on 15. Ivan Toney is on 13. Also, looking at some stats then, Player of the Match awards, Ciro Immobile with 5. Kieran Tierney now is top of the distance covered per 90 minutes. Tackles per 90 minutes, Bukayo Saka and Pozo both having an impact there. So that defensive winger on the right is the position that really helps our team. Looking at the Champions League, we've qualified in 6th place, played 8 games, got 18 points there. FA Cup, we're into the 4th round. We've drawn Southampton. We were knocked out in the Carabao Cup quarter-final by Manchester United, and we were the winners of the Community Shield. So in terms of the season, it's going well to this point. We just need to kick on now and really start to knuckle down in the Premier League and in the Champions League as we look to make it a season to remember. So the last thing to show you then is going to be the squad and the squad planner to see where this all fits together and how we are going to have a run to the end of the season. Okay, so for the final run-in of the final season, this is how our assistant manager, Billy McKinley, thinks that we should be lining up. So it's Ramsdale, Zinchenko, Scalvini, Saliba and White, Bellingham, Goretzka and Saka, Almada, Odegaard and Gabriel Jesus. So with only the one transfer coming in, it doesn't really change the squad planner. Julian Brandt, as I said, is a player who can play in any of the positions, whether it be Goretzka, Odegaard, Almada or Saka. So he's the ultimate cover player, really. And I'm not surprised to see he doesn't fit into any one of those slots in terms of the squad planner, because he's a bit of a jack of all trades and can do most things. Looking at it, again, we've got Ciro Immobile, who could go in Gabriel Jesus' position. We've got Endrick, who plays there too, although I have been playing Endrick as a wide player also, just to get him some game time and get some minutes under his belt. We also have a few other players. Arda Güler is really unfortunate that he's in with Martin Odegaard competing for a place, because Arda Güler is turning into a fantastic footballer, but in terms of this save, I don't think we have given enough time to try and get the best out of some of these youngsters. Also, the same goes for Cade Cowell, Barco at left back. Jumar has come through and he scored the goal obviously earlier on in the season, so he's playing well. And then we've got Russell Wilson out on line. Dig Bereku is another one that we probably should be able to give more time to and see where he goes. But looking at it, going into the final part of the season, I think we're in a good place. I think we're going to go far in terms of the Champions League and also in terms of the Premier League. So it's one of those where in the next episode we're going to really push on, because we're going to go to the end of the season and we're going to show you what's happened in the final part of the running. Can we do it? Can we finally get to the Champions League? Can we win it? Can we win the Premier League for a third time? Those are the questions that are going to be answered in the next episode. Right, for this one, I'm going to start to wrap it up there. If you're still with me at this point in the video, firstly, a big thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. If you could hit the like and subscribe button to help the channel, that would be fantastic too. Before you go, don't forget to check out the channel for other things. We have hints, tips, Wonder Kids, tutorials, let's plays, something for everybody right here on the channel. But for this one, I'm going to wrap it up. Come and join me on the next episode of the Arsenal Save as we count down the days to the end of the save.